Hello everyone, we are the Group 5 and our topic is Corazon Aquino's speech.
He is likely to be the next speaker. And other congressional leaders, there's Senator Robert Dole right behind her. He's the majority leader of the Senate, and on his right is the minority leader, the Democratic leader, Robert Byrd of West Virginia. And you can hear the sustained and very enthusiastic applause.
For more than a decade, the country was subjected to opposition. As a result, Filipino citizens were left behind and burdened with the debt incurred by Marcos during his regime, from which they received no benefit. The dust after the martial law was starting to settle, but the Philippines was reckoning with everything Marcos' administration had inflicted. This included $26 billion in total foreign debt and a communist insurgency that grew from 500 armed guerrillas to 16,000 during the Marcos era. President Corazon Aquino's speech was written by a Filipino politician, Mr. Teodoro Lacsin Jr. Mr. Teodoro is a politician, diplomat, lawyer, and a former journalist who served as congressman for the 1st District of Makati from 2001 to 2010 and later served as Philippine ambassador to the United Nations from 2007 to 2018.
Archibald MacLeish had said that democracy must be defended by arms when it is attacked by arms, and by truth when it is attacked by lies. He failed to say how it shall be won. I held fast to Ninoy's conviction that it must be by the ways of democracy. I held out for participation in the 1984 election the dictatorship called, even if I knew it would be rigged. I was warned by the lawyers of the opposition that I ran the grave risk of legitimizing the foregone results of elections that were clearly going to be fraudulent. But I was not fighting for lawyers, but for the people, in whose intelligence I had implicit faith. By the exercise of democracy, even in a dictatorship, they would be prepared for democracy when it came. And then also, it was the only way I knew by which we could measure our power, even in the terms dictated by the dictatorship. The people vindicated me in an election shamefully marked by government thuggery and fraud. The opposition swept the elections, garnering a clear majority of the votes, even if they ended up, thanks to a corrupt Commission on Elections, with barely a third of the seats in Parliament. Now I knew our power. Last year, in an excess of arrogance, the dictatorship called for its doom in a snap election. The people obliged. With over 1 million signatures, they drafted me to challenge the dictatorship, and I obliged. The rest is the history that dramatically unfolded on your television screens and across the front pages of your newspapers. You saw a nation armed with courage and integrity, stand fast by democracy against threats and corruption. You saw women poll watchers break out in tears as armed goons crashed the polling places to steal the ballots. But just the same, they tied themselves to the ballot boxes. You saw a people so committed to the ways of democracy that they were prepared to give their lives for its pale imitation. At the end of the day, before another wave of fraud could distort the results, I announced the people's victory. Many of you here today played a part in changing the policy of your country towards ours. We, the Filipinos, thank each of you for what you did, for balancing America's strategic interests against human concerns, illuminates the American vision of the world.
The article revisits Cory Aquino's historic 1986 speech before the U.S. Congress, was written by Miguel Escobar and was published in the site of Esquire Magazine PH on the 25th of January 2018. The site ought to provide compelling content about front-row commentaries on politics, business, entertainment, and many more. In accordance to the terms of use in posting content on the said site, the author of the article must not provide false, deceptive, misleading, deceitful, misinformative, constitution, bait and switch, or impersonation of any person or entity. This proves that the article consists of true and factual information that was based on the legitimate video recording of Corazon Aquino's speech in Washington, D.C. The link of the said video was also included in the article. For our internal criticism, the article depicts about everything that had inflicted by the previous administration led by the dictator Ferdinand Marcos. According to Miguel Escobar of Esquire, Aquino pleaded for help for the insurgency that grew and $26 billion total foreign debt throughout Marcos' regime. The historical speech caused to favor the vote for an emergency $200 million assistance. The speech, interrupted 11 times by applause and standing ovations, moved the Congress to help aid the rebuilding of the Philippine economy. We fought for honor, and if only for honor, we shall pay. The author emphasizes this line, showing that during those times, the fight that Aquino started was not wasted.
That's it for the Group 5. Thank you everyone for listening on our topic.